Now, to discuss the spate of building collapse in the country, I'm now being joined on the news at 10 by the National Publicity Secretary, Building Collapse Prevention Guild, Mr. George Akinola. Thank you for joining us on the news at 10.
Thanks for having me.
Going by what we've seen, this appears to be a national problem now. It's not just happening in one state. You can't say it's just Lagos. What has your guild been able to identify as the root cause? Really,
impunity, lack of supervision, lack of adherence to building standards, and so many other factors. But mainly impunity. People don't follow the law. They take the professionals that are really trained to execute building construction are not being used. The architect is not designing because the people give it to people that are not qualified. The structural engineer is not hired. They give it to roadside engineers to just put structures together. So the end result can only be collapse. And of course, materials that are the correct materials, which is supposed to follow the Standard Organization of Nigeria, recommended materials and standards are not being adhered to. So definitely buildings will keep tumbling down.
Well, there's so many professional associations in the country. Apart from your guild, you have engineers and etc. giving advice, and each time we hear another building has collapsed. What is the way around it beyond just talking about the fact that you've identified the problems?
There has to be more stringent control, more stringent control of design, more stringent control of approval processes, more stringent control of construction, more stringent control of the whole building process. If you don't do that, we'll continue to go the way of yesterday. Everything will continue to happen the same way as it has been happening. Because people take laws into their hands. They build on poor soil. They don't do soil tests. They build on places that are not supposed to build, like water, logged areas, without soil tests, without the appropriate foundations. If the foundation is not right, the structure will come down. Like the one that happened in Ilorin, we are familiar because our people are already there. The one that happened in Ilorin happened because the building was already approved to be 4 floors. But the owner went to put up a 5th floor.
Exactly. Did no one notice that was happening? And even when it's approved, is there no monitoring team that can say this is not what was on the approved plan? When you say the owner went ahead, it's strange that happens and it just happens like that.
You would know that we are not the approval agency, neither are we the supervising agency. We are just a collaboration of all the built professionals in the built environment. Architects, engineers, safety valuers, and so on and so forth, in the built environment. So we advise. We are the ones trained to put up these structures. But most times, people bypass the professionals. Now the government is supposed to put up approval agencies. They're supposed to put up supervising agencies during construction. And during construction, if a building is not properly supervised, not just being there to check what is being done, you have to check the quality of the materials. You have to check the way the materials are being put together. You have to check that the way the building is being put together is in adherence with the designs as done, both by the architects and the engineers. If you don't do it, it's a very stringent series of controls. If you don't do that, the building will always ultimately come down because it's science, pure science. And you cannot execute a scientific endeavor the way you would do an artistic endeavor. It will fail.
Do you think the guild should go beyond giving advice? Because obviously, is there some sort of legal backing to the advice that you give? What do you think can be done? Because we don't want to wait for the next one to happen.
Well, I'm sorry to disappoint you. Nigeria, it will continue to happen. Why? Because some buildings have been built 10 years ago that did not satisfy the actual processes that they're supposed to satisfy. So they will come tumbling one day. But we as the guild, we have said that we should be involved at every level. All the professionals. Because you see, the government cannot supervise. They don't have enough personnel. Like Lagos State now. In 1 year, there were 48,000 building constructions in Lagos State. Maybe they have less than 500 building supervising professionals in the government agencies. So how can they cover? But we as the professionals, we are in every local government, we are in every cell. In the 57 local government LCDAs in Lagos State, we're everywhere. You will have the whole complement of all these built environment professionals in every local government. We say the government should exploit our presence and our knowledge and technical expertise so that before, during, and after we are involved in building construction. That way, if the legislation is used to back us, building collapses will be reduced. And that is the advocacy that we have been on for the past 6-7 years.
And what is the first step? If you had to be on such a board or such a committee, what is the first thing you would do?
Well, I will ensure that there is this stringent application of the principles. Fundamental principles of building construction, building procurement must be adhered to. There must be a fundamental adherence. Else, we will have more of the same.
All right, thank you so much. National Publicity Secretary of the Building Collapse Prevention Guild, Mr. George Akinola, for sharing your thoughts on the news at 10 tonight.
My pleasure.